And this is New York. Is this? No, this is gun violence archive. Is it the deaths or is it gun violence? And 40 New York, 75 the Washington, Baltimore area, 41 Georgia, 3 Florida, 19. I'm looking at a map. It doesn't have the names of the states. That's 41 in the I guess Houston area, 22 in the LA area, 121 in the Chicago area, and then it is blamed on guns. One of the least intelligent of our politicians. He's not only corrupt, he's not intelligent, is Governor Cuomo of New York State. The man who has blood on his hands, and I never talk like that with regard to nursing home deaths in New York. And he's telling us the issue is guns. Isn't that amazing? People are murdering people, and the issue is guns, not the people who murder. Why doesn't that alone have you leave the Democratic Party? Is there a single Democrat who differs with Andrew Cuomo? Publicly, at any rate? I don't mean your brother-in-law who's a Democrat. I mean Democratic politician. Is there a Democratic newspaper? Because that's what the New York Times and the others are. They're functionaries of the Democratic Party. Do any of them differ? We bathe in lies. That's what we do, and we're drowning in them. It's guns. That's it. But weren't there guns 2 years ago, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. years ago? So it's clearly not guns that has changed, is it? Something else must have changed. Isn't that elementary? You could explain what I just said to a 10-year-old, and the 10-year-old would fully understand it. What has changed is that, A, there is a belief that you can get away with anything with the Democrats in control, and that's largely true. Not entirely, but largely. Certainly other acts of violence, especially theft, even on a massive level. I'll talk about that later, about what's happening in San Francisco. Everywhere the left governs, things are shattered, but people still vote. The vote that people tender that is hurtful to themselves, that is harmful to themselves, is a phenomenon. But it is not unique to the United States. There are people who vote for the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, right? There are people who vote for communists. There are people who vote for fascists. There are people who vote for Islamic terrorists who ruin their own country, not only who ruin others. So why would they not vote for the Democrats? And when you have an entire media that supports it, it becomes very hard to fight that. So it is guns. So let's see. Media Matters. I want to dedicate the following to Media Matters, a left-wing site that lies for a living. Literally, they lie for a living. That their purpose is to lie. And something called the Democratic Underground, because they publicized my show, and I want to thank them for it. Because I read to you from from USA Today, well-known right-wing newspaper, an article by Bjorn Lomborg, president of the Copenhagen Consensus, a visiting fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford. So I dedicate it to you. I hope you put this up as well, because it only proves my point that you have no interest in what is true. You only have interest in power And if you have to lie, you lie. So they put this up as if it's nonsense. What is the it? Yes. A landmark study in Nature Climate Change made headlines around the world. Rising temperatures from global warming increase the number of heat deaths. But the study left out glaring truths that even its own authors have abundantly documented. Heat deaths are declining in countries with good data, likely because of ever more air conditioning. This is abundantly clear in the United States, which has seen increasing hot days since 1960, affecting a much greater population. There's no denial of global warming here, is there? Yet the number of heat deaths has more than halved. Get that? As the globe has gotten hotter, in countries with responsible data, the number of deaths from heat has been cut in half. They are such liars on the left that they believe their lies. I have asked this my whole life. Do you believe your lies? Most of them do. And they're like Stepford leftists. They never ask, gee, is that true, or what is the evidence? They just reassert it's not true. But it is true. Heat deaths have declined as temperatures have risen. There you go. The number of heat deaths has more than halved. So while global warming could result in more deaths, technological development in, for instance, America, is actually resulting in fewer heat deaths. More important, cold deaths vastly outweigh heat deaths worldwide. This is not just true for cold countries like Canada, but warmer countries like the United States, Spain, Brazil, even India. Cold deaths outweigh heat deaths by 7 to 1. Globally, about 1.7 million deaths are caused by cold a year, more than 5 times the number of heat deaths. Okay, just thought I would share that with you. I will do this regularly and trust that you will put it up there at Media Matters and Democratic Underground. So, hi there, guys. You have been fooled by whoever you rely on to supply stuff. You have egg on your face, because what I wrote came from USA Today, from a very well-respected man of scholarship, and is, most important, true. A dirty word on the left. All right, dedicated to you guys. I saw more video of the protests in front of that spa. Do you understand the world in which we live? You know, Antifa beat people up. Did you see that? And Antifa beat people up who don't think that a man's genitalia should be shown to girls. Antifa is a purely evil organization. They're also cowards. They go fully masked. They don't want to be seen beating up women. I mean, they were beating up a woman. Antifa. I would be so curious to know how many of these Antifa members grew up with a father in their life. And I'm sure 0 grew up with a regular church or synagogue attendance. Antifa is the product of pathology, as was the Nazi Party in Germany. Though they didn't have a father, they didn't have fathers missing, to the best of my knowledge. They had other pathologies in Germany. But that's what they remind me of, Antifa, the Nazi thugs who beat people up with whom they differed. But imagine that, they beat up a woman who doesn't think that girls should see a man's penis. I mean, think about that, what we have come to. Has one left-wing newspaper condemned Antifa for doing this? LA Times? New York Times? CNN?